Hi YouTube, this is Lisa for 40 Plus Buff, and I'm here to talk about what's on my plate. Specifically, what's in my tummy. I'm going to do it by introducing you to the new little undertaking for the new year, which is to keep this food journal. Now, you might say, oh, why are you keeping a food journal? Well, I think it's really important that you not only take stock of all the things that you have around you, what you put into your body, and how many times you do it during the day. This book talks about food amnesia, and that's something that happens to me. Like, there are times when I haven't eaten anything, or I ate a bag of chips for lunch, and that's it. That's not good. So I'm trying to really take stock of what I put in my stomach, what I'm chewing on during the day. And this has been an interesting exercise. I started this week, and it's also allowed me to look at calories a lot more closely and what I do to burn off those calories. So I exercise on a pretty regular basis, and I still don't necessarily keep track of calories in and out. This was a great way for me to do it. You can probably buy something like this off the internet. I picked mine up at the pharmacy, or any type of diet program that you're on probably has something similar. So I really hope that you start to do something like this, because it gives you a sense of control, and it gives you a sense of, an overview of what you're doing with your body. Now, this all started this year because I went through the holidays. I got through pretty good with my exercise, but eating, I started to pick up a little bit of this, a little bit of that. In the beginning of the year, I'm making cake pops, which were delicious, by the way. They were really good. I'm making cake pops with the kids. So I had way too many cake pops. Alright? I made too many. I gave as many away as possible. I gave my kids, as much as I could tolerate them bouncing off the walls. And then I was eating cake pops. So I ended up pushing up my weight to like 128, 129. So that is probably not a lot to most people. But to me, it's a lot because I didn't have a lot of lean muscle. I've lost a lot of the lean muscle because I stopped my weight training. So it's okay for me to weigh 128 pounds if I'm all muscle, but that's simply not the case. I'm jiggling in little parts, which is great if you want to jiggle, but a little bit too much jiggling for me. In any case, I thought, listen, you need to really kind of keep track of what you're eating. And that was part of it. And also the other part was to figure out, what am I eating? What nutrition am I putting into my body, and how is this affecting my physical condition? Specifically, I wanted to build more lean muscle, so I know myself, I don't eat that much protein, and I need to bring that back into my diet. So the first, kind of week off from the cake pops, I decided to try different recipes and try different food groups that are partially in my diet, but I wanted to really see how I could integrate them. So, look at recipes, look at ways of cooking them that fit with my schedule, that fit with my taste. And I started off with dry beans. So I tried a lot of different beans, use the crock pot a lot. If you eat meat, I recommend the smoked turkey for seasoning. That was great. And then also I had a chance to try some collard greens, which I hadn't had in a long time, and if you're Southern, you know what I'm talking about. So I decided to pick up some collard greens. They were organic collard greens from Sprouts, and made a pot of those, and those are very nutritious. After that, I moved on to proteins. So I don't get a lot of protein, so I was making protein breakfast balls, which I picked up a recipe from Susanna. I'm a body rocker. Just want to give a shout out to that YouTuber as well. And, also looking at breakfast is something that you really need to eat a little bit more when you get up type of thing. So having French toast, having the egg in the French toast. And next I moved on to the vegetables. So I'm a fruit person, heavily a fruit person. But I wanted to look at different vegetables. So I've been picking up beets. I love root vegetables, but it's always like a yam or a potato. Well, or sweet potato actually. I don't really eat regular potatoes too much, but looking at other root vegetables like the beet, and they are delicious. There's something that I just pop in the microwave. If you don't mind having your food new, it's a really quick way to cook beets, and they're absolutely, very hearty vegetables to make and eat. Now, the other thing I wanted to look at on the protein side was meat. So baking various different meats and trying to get, what's my taste, what can I handle. I can't eat too much meat because it just takes too long to chew, but that's just me. I don't like chewing too much, but that probably would explain why I just like eating bananas and fruit all the time. But that's another sad story about my diet. In any case, I did try the meats. If you're not vegetarian, you can move on to tofu. I'm pretty good with cooking tofu, So wanted to see what else I could explore on that, and that would be to my taste, not something I would just prepare for my kids. And after that, I kind of moved back to my staple diet, and that is, I call it my Tony Ann diet, because when I went over to film the segments with her for her book, she fed me all day. So I had, boiled eggs, brown rice, and these delicious salads. She's making these salads that I just rave about. They're so good. That's something that I eat a lot. And the next thing I know, after eating that all day, was the following day I had lost 2 pounds. And one of the things with my workout schedule is that if I stick with that diet, I know I lose weight pretty rapidly. So I need to mix in other things if, I go back to kind of like eating the salad and the rice to make sure I maintain my weight and protein level. So that said, it's important that you know how to cook foods that are nutritious for you, that you experiment with those foods, that you experiment with recipes that kind of fit into your schedule and the things that you have in your cupboard. But I also think it's really important to know the impact. The beans made me heavier. I was 128, 129 that whole week that I had the beans. The beans are heavy. They're hearty food. So you need to burn more calories when you eat foods like that, or at least I do. And then when I go back to my regular diet, I can just lose weight really quickly with that. But, I start jeopardizing the muscle. So it's important that you have a diet that you can lose weight with. If you kind of start to go over the edge, you can go back to something that is filling, that's quick and easy and comfortable for you to make without doing something too extreme. To have that kind of low weight diet that you can sustain yourself off of for a couple of days until you get your weight back under control. So I'm losing the pounds. I have a goal to lose 5 pounds and then to gain it back with, or some or all of it back just in lean muscle. So that's my plan for the year. I'm doing it with my handy dandy notebook. Blues Clues. Remember that show? In any case, just wanted to check in with you. I hope these are some good tips. Let me know how you're doing with your food journal or anything that you discover in terms of, your make or break diets or new recipes. And I'd like to hear from you. If you want to just chime in, put in the comment box below. This is Lisa for 40 Plus Buff. Thanks for tuning in.